design, generally we keep the zeta value around, you can say, zero point 0.4, at which the phase margin is 50 degree. So in the last line, we notice that generally for design consideration, zeta value around zero point 0.4 that give a phase margin of 50 degree. So this is our guideline. We have to keep the phase margin is more than 30. So we keep this kind of para estimation. So now we can see that we also discussed that a controlled system designer will often try to make both gain and phase margin that is equal to or greater than the specified minimum value, that is 1.7 and 30 degree, right? And this is also found that within the gain margin and phase margin, which parameter is most prominent, that is basically the phase margin. Because as per guideline, if we have the amplitude ratio less than 1, even though there is instability, so the better, or you can say the more predominant parameter is phase margin. So here we discuss one example that contain the controller and the process and the transportation lag for the different value of Kc. In this, if we have a PD controller, then we have the Kc. If we have only proportional control, then we have the parameter like this. So the transportation transfer function is given by this. So for that, we draw the graph, and from there we discuss the results. In this kind of analysis, we found that let's say if we are considering the first, let's say the gain margin, so that will give you a certain value of Kc. And if you look for the phase margin, that criteria will give you some other value of Kc. So what value of Kc should be considered for the designing purpose? So we find that the lower value of Kc, that is always considered for the designing parameter, right? So maybe for the different study, you will find the even both the Kc are satisfying the guidelines as per rule. We are finding that, but in between we have to take at one parameter ultimately. So which parameter will be suitable, that is the which has a lower value. So for example, here we find that the Kc value is 13.2, and from one study, from another study it is 12.3. So we'll select a Kc value of 12.3, and at which we can find that what is the gain margin. So finally you have to report what is the gain margin, what is the phase margin, but at which Kc. So that will be finding by this. So we drawn the conclusion that in almost every situation, the designer face this conflict between the speed of response and degree of oscillations. So degree of oscillations, even if you have integral action, that also increase the oscillations. In integral action is not used, almost offset must be considered. So this is also one conflict between the, because if you see, if you look for the speed of response means how quickly we reach to the set point. So that is more oscillatory, right? Is speed of response, you can say the rise time. The rise time is, if less, very less, so means this is okay. But at the same time, if rise time is less, it is more oscillatory also. So you have to take a parameter which will according to your desired. So the concept of gain and phase margin are useful for selecting the Kc for the proportional action, and we also find that the for the additional mode of control such as PD, these concepts are difficult to apply in the practice. So PD generally we do not consider in that kind of analysis. A typical design procedure is to select the tau d for which the value of Kc result in the 30-degree phase margin is maximized. The motivation for this choice is that offset will be minimized. However, the procedure is clearly trial and error. So mostly, as we discussed that the proportional controller, we generally get the values, and mostly this is by the trial error method. If we include the PD will be again, in case of proportional controller, we can, because we have one parameter, we can simply solve it by the Bode criteria. But if you have a PD, then the calculation is mostly the trial error. So means as you increase the number of variables, just like if you take the PID, in case of PID we have 3 variables. So you are increasing the number of variables, means you are going for complex kind of solution, or some you can say more rigorous analysis is required, calculation is required. So for that purpose, generally we follow, or we choose the other alternatives, right? We choose some other method to find out the proper solution. So let's say in this case the 3 mode of controller, the 2 parameters tau I, tau d, which must be varied by trial to meet the various design criteria. So fortunately for this case and other, there is a simple rule for direct establishing the value of the control parameter that is usually given satisfactory gain and phase margin. That is the Ziegler-Nicholas rule that basically used to find out the parameters when we have basically more 2 or more control mode. Just like we have PD or PID or PI, in all that case we generally use Ziegler-Nicholas rule. So we have discussed about this Ziegler-Nicholas controller, what is the method. So basically in this method we avoid the controller part, and we find out the open loop for the rest of the transfer function. So means we discuss G1, G2 and H. We will not consider GC. So the open loop transfer function will be G1, G2, G and H. And we will plot this by the Bode criteria. We will plot this amplitude ratio versus frequency, the phase angle versus frequency in a similar way. And from there we will calculate the crossover frequency by the similar way, means where the phase angle is minus 180 degree. So at this crossover frequency, what is the amplitude ratio value, and corresponding we will find out what is the ultimate value. It means we can say this as Ku and Pu, right? So by the same method, by the Bode criteria, we also plot this amplitude ratio versus phase angle and with frequency response, and we find out the crossover frequency, and at this crossover frequency what is the amplitude ratio, and at the, if we have the amplitude ratio 1, what is the final phase angle, and corresponding this what is the phase margin and gain margin. So now here once you know the value of A, you can find out what is the Ku. Ku basically defined as 1 upon A, and we define Pu. Pu is basically 2 pi upon omega Co, that is crossover frequency. So once we know the 2 parameter by the Bode criteria, Ku and Pu, from there we can find out the other parameters by a given table. Once you know Ku and Pu. So let's say if you have proportional controller, then the transfer function will be Kc simply. We know the for Pi we have the transfer function like this, for PID we have transfer function like this. So for the different parameters, for the different if you have any doubt you can interrupt, right? So if you have any from the given transfer function, we can find out the value of Kc and tau I, tau d as per dependent on Ku and Pu. right? So here I also want to mention that the tau I and tau d, you will find that in case of PID, this is Pu upon 2, this is Pu upon 8. So you can say that the tau I is equal to 4 times tau d, right? So these are some estimation. This is basically a rough estimation of the parameter, or you can say the starting value of the parameter you can choose, and you can try for the controller. If these parameters gives a good results, stable results, is fine. Otherwise we can play a little bit around these parameters. I'm not saying this is giving the answer, this is giving the fixed value of the parameter, but at least we can say that we have some method that will give you some approximate value of that parameter, and after that we can play around. Okay, so unfortunately the specification for KC and tau d for PD controller cannot be made. So here you will not find out this, there is no PD here, because PD is mostly given by the trial error method, right? Here you can see in general the value of 0.6 Ku for PID and Pu by 8, which correspond to the limiting case for no integral action, means you have this. If you consider this as a PD, for PD you can say the Kc value is 0.6 Ku and tau d value is Pu by 8, right? And if you are not considering the integral action, right, no integral action, so means you are not considering this Pu by 2, right? Even though you can say you can try for this as a PD, right? From this information you can try for the PD, but this is
सर
for
आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
आवाज नहीं आ रही, सबको नहीं आ रही, साउंड तो ठीक है ना, चेक करो, सबके साथ प्रॉब्लम हो रही है क्या?
नो सर,
आवाज आ रही है ना?
आ रही है सर।
मतलब ये मेरे एंड पे इशू नहीं होगा, यहाँ से तो ठीक है आवाज, है ना? थोड़ा सा देख लो सिग्नल अपना, रूम वगैरह चेंज कर लो, रूम थोड़ा सा ओपन में आ जाओ, अंदर बैठे होगे तो नहीं आती आवाज। Okay, so means for the PD we can take some initial guess by considering some approximate parameter, just like in case of PID you have PID, but in PID if you not take the tau I, you can only take the value from P and tau D. Even that can be also work for initial as an initial guess for the PD, and you can say the system is stable. Okay, so we have a very easy method, that is Ziegler-Nicholas rule. There exists a method in case which the principle no more difficult to use in Ziegler-Nicholas. Okay, so based on this technique, basically we have defined all these things, right? So there is no need to go for this. Okay, this was the example we have discussed. I think last time we have discussed this. Okay, let me go through once quickly. Let's say this is example where we have taken this as a transfer function. This is basically Pi. We have 1 plus 1 upon tau is. So this is Pi, and this is a process, and this is some transportation lag. Okay, so if you find out the crossover frequency means where we have a phase angle is minus 180. So that basically how you get the phase angle for this. So you know, for this tau I, you can say what is the okay, we are now looking for the Ziegler-Nicholas. So for Ziegler-Nicholas there is no need to consider this GC, we will only consider this and this, right? So for these two, what is, now you understand why we are not considering this, because we have Ziegler-Nicholas. In Ziegler-Nicholas we do not consider GC, we only consider GP and whatever the other. Okay? So that's why for this we have this tau value is 1 here, so this is minus tan inverse omega, and for this is only omega tau. Okay, omega tau. What is tau? Tau is 1.02. So what this is 1.02. We multiply this by 180 by pi to just convert this in a radian. Otherwise, it will give you some degree. So, okay, radian to degree. Okay. So from here, tan inverse omega, and this, if you solve this equation, that will give you omega equal to 2. So means this is a crossover frequency. This is 2 radian per minute. This is clear. So from this we can find out the value of AR, and AR correspond to this is given as Kc upon 1 plus omega square, and when omega is equal to 2, this value is Kc upon 2.24, right? So if I just take even the border case where the AR should be less than 1, but if I just take the border case where AR equal to 1, so what is the value of Kc? If I take AR equal to 1, so then Kc value is 2.24. That is basically the ultimate value, Kcu. Okay, so if you find out the Kcu is known, so what is the value of Kc? If Kcu is known, what is the value of Kc? From the table, you can see from the table, for Pi, this is, if Kcu is known, this is whatever 2.24, so the Kc value is 0.45 times Ku, right? So I will multiply with this 0.45 times of Kcu, that comes out 1.01. So means from this calculation we get some initial guess about the Kc, that is 1.01, right? So now the tau I we can get the relation we have Pu upon 1.2, and Pu basically this is 2 pi upon omega C0 crossover frequency, and corresponding this we find out that is 2.62. So we know Kc and tau I. So from this way analysis we can get some initial guess about the parameters, right? So using Ziegler-Nicholas rules, determine the controller setting for the various modes of control of the two tank chemical reactors. We have one more example here. They taken, and from there they are yet trying to find out. Okay. I think I should escape this. Okay, let me just go through it. There's few important points we can discuss. So we have, let's say, one more example where they have given the process and the transportation lag. This is e to the power minus s by 2. Okay, so we have these two. We will not consider this GC and here, but GC is given as the PID controller. So PID controller, this is tau I and tau D, we have both. So you have to find out the tau I, tau D, and K1. In this type of calculation, they assume that let's say whatever the constants we have, the Kc, Kc1, Kc2, all the Kc's are some average value, and they can take this as K1. K1 is just the average value, so that's why we can take this common. Otherwise, maybe Kc1, it may be Kc1, Kc2 upon tau1, tau is, it may be Kc2 upon Kc3 tau ds. So constant can be differ from in a controller, but to simplify the calculation, we can assume that this constant is almost constant, and we can take the average, that is K1. And now we have tau I and tau D. So we have basically three parameters: K1, tau I, tau D, and that can be find out by the Ziegler-Nicholas rule. And Kc is basically given as K1 upon K, where K is 0.09, that is given in your problem. This is given in a problem where K is 0.09. So if you know the Kc, you can find out the K1 value, right? Okay, so This is a transfer function. You can plot this. You can plot as a Border criteria. We plot this. Now you have to find out the crossover frequency. Crossover frequency means where we have a minus 180. So this is the overall plot. Just taking the overall plot. If I just see the what is the crossover frequency, this is 1.56. Omega CO value is 1.56 from the graph. I just make it dark, a red color, so you can easily read. You will start with minus 180 degree, and you know the crossover frequency where it cut the overall graph. This a dark line is overall curve, so that give you value 1.56. At this 1.56, what is the value of AR corresponding to this? AR we are looking for overall, right? So this is 0.145. So means we are getting two data. One is the crossover frequency, this is 1.56, and other one the AR value that comes out 0.145, right? So corresponding to this, you can find out the KU. KU is basically 1 upon AR at crossover frequency. This is 0.146, that is 6.9. Right, so you know the K ultimate, or you can say the K1 value, right? And you have the PU, this is 2 pi upon omega C naught, that is 1.56, that is 4 minutes per cycle. So you know the KU and PU. Once you know that, you can easily find out from the calculation, this is PID. So from the calculation, you can find out the KC, tau I, and tau D. KC value 6.9, tau I, and tau D. So from this calculation you can easily get. Okay, so once you know the KC, tau I, tau D, okay, a plot comparing open loop frequency response including controllers of the three cases using controller constants. Okay, this figure shows quite clearly the effect of the phase lead due to the derivation action. The resulting gain and phase margin are listed. Okay, from the table it may be seen that the margin are adequate, general, conservative. Note that to obtain the Bode diagram including PID, the controller transfer function is written as this. Okay, so basically we have the controller transfer function. So once we know the all the values of KC, tau I, tau D, that is one part. That analysis is over. Here they are also showing that you know that this is additional part. The GC, this is given by this KC 1 upon tau S, tau ds. We can rearrange, we can write in this form also, right? And here you can simply substitute the value in terms of PU and KU, and that is also in a simplified form. If you want to see the relation how this is behaving, so you can put this relation tau I equal to 4 times of tau D. And I shown you from where we are getting this. You can see here PU by 2, PU by 8. So this is relation is tau I is equal to basically 4 times of tau D. So this relation is okay. If you put this, you can replace tau I or you can replace tau D. So you have at least you are minimizing the parameters basically. Instead of 3, now you have 2 parameters, right? So this way also you can try for the next analysis. So now tau I, tau D, here the values are listed for the different controllers. What are the values of K1 and tau I and tau D, right? So you know the KU, you know the PU, you can make the table like this. You can also calculate the gain margin and phase margin for the different set of values. So for a given set, they calculated for a given set, let's say for 3.5, they calculated the gain margin is 2, phase margin is 45. Similarly for PI, they got this kind of information. So means you have to take the different values, just like for proportional, you will take this dotted line. For PI, you will take this line. For PID, you will take this dark curve. So for a different curve, if you take a different curve, you have the different value of gain margin and phase margin. So from graph, you can easily get all this information, right? Once you know the values of parameter, you can easily get. Okay, now we have some transient response. Transient response means how the uh, PI, PID changes with, or it shows how the responses change with time, how it shows the responses with time. So you can say we are now summarizing the overall results. If you take it one set of parameter, what is the effect on the performance of the controller? So let's say if we have one step change, we given some step change input. So we have the value 1. This is your ultimate value is the controller should attain. So the response of CT of a unit step change. So RT, this is output is shown in figure. So you can see here the proportional controller, it is going like this. It is going like this means it is showing always we have the ultimate set point is 1, and we have the final output is like this. So we always have the some offset. And if you go for PI, so these oscillations are increasing. We have more oscillations, and ultimately it will take some longer time to achieve the same value, to attain the same value, that is 1. So there is no offset. But if you take the PID, you can see the oscillations are also suppressed. You can say very quickly it is just suppressed. So even the response time also increase, means we are getting very quick in a very even lower time we are getting the set point. So response times is also increase, and the uh, oscillations also decrease in case of PID. So basically we have some additional benefits of using that controllers. So if for this graph it is shown for the from the whatever the parameters we have taken, we plotted the graph and the results are compared. Just like in proportional controller, what is the overshoot, what is the decay ratio, what is the rise time. So response time, period of oscillations, offset. So first thing you can see that only proportional controller is showing some offset, otherwise rest is 0. That is true. And overshoot, that is with proportional, you can say proportional is much is going the much showing the overshoot, but after that you can say PI and PID overshoots are lower. Decay ratio, it means decay ratio is defined as you know that is C by A. C by A means how much it is going in the second round. So C by A. So that is very less. In case of PID, you can see almost 0. Rise time. Rise time means when it reaches to the first set point, that is known as rise time. So this is for proportional and PI, both are almost same, but PID it is very less. So means we are getting some additional benefits. So that by looking the graph, by comparing the parameter, you can say which controller is better. Okay, so here we summarize some result that addition of the integral action eliminates the offset at the expense of the more oscillatory response, right? And because oscillation also increases, offset decreases, but oscillations increases. So means this is your requirement to what kind of final results you want. When derivative action is also included, the response is much faster, means lower rise time, but and it has the less oscillatory, means lower response time. So it decreases the oscillations and increase the rise time. So sorry, you lower the rise time. So rise time come hoga, to means it is you will get a very fast set point. So derivative action help us in this manner. We have lower rise time and less oscillator. Large overshoot relies in all the cases are characteristics of a system with relatively large delay, large time delay. Okay, means large time delay. this is important point. We need to some more explanation. Here you can see even we are applying the PE and PI and PID, even though we are getting some large oscillations in this beginning. And what is the reason for that? Because of when you apply some integral action, so parameter takes some, you once you put some parameter, you change the parameter or you apply some action, this action takes some time to implement. That is known as the time delay. So that time delay caused the uncontrolled, you can say uncontrolled action, means we are doing nothing at that time. So that's why we have the large oscillations in the beginning. After that, once the controller action is started or implemented, everything will be in control. So the time delay is basically, you can see the response. Here it is shown that the in a few graph, you can see that what is the actual effect of varying controller setting. This is Ziegler-Nicholas indicate the Ziegler-Nicholas setting. So here you can see we have the parameters like KC 6.3, KC 4.2. We have the parameter like this, KC 2.1, right? But in this is basically the graph that is taken by the Ziegler-Nicholas setting. So where tau I equal to 2, this is a constant basically, tau I 2 and tau D 0.5. We taken these two parameter constant and we just taken the Kc as a variable parameter. So it is plotted for Kc 6.3, Kc 4.2, Kc 2.1. So you can see that Ziegler, we have the basically for three different Kc. This plot is for three different Kc, keeping tau I, tau D constant. You can see that by the Ziegler-Nicholas setting, it is showing Kc value 4.2, and which is a quite good approximate. Even though if we have these three data, and this may be found by some other technique, but by the you can if you want to select which data you will operate, so you will definitely choose the middle one, and that is the actually what we are getting by the Ziegler-Nicholas setting. Okay, a possible combination which should be tried is to be Kc slightly and to increase tau I and tau D moderately. Okay, these change would probably be tried on the actual reactor system when it is put into the operation. So it is just some theory point of view, but here you can see from the graph that it is shown that for the different parameters, just like if you have a tau I as a variable, so Kc and tau D keeping constant, if I vary tau I, you can say 1, 2, 5, and Ziegler-Nicholas setting for this condition is shown that 2, tau I equal to 2, and which is giving the very good control action, right? And similarly for keeping Kc tau I constant, if I take tau D, if I vary tau D 0.2, 0.5 and 1, you can see 0.5 is a very good control actions. So this way we are trying to show that the whatever results we are getting by the Ziegler-Nicholas setting method, it is showing very good estimation of the parameter. So what we are doing basically, we can conclude that we introduced the concept of body stability criteria as well as the gain margin, phase margin for determining the appropriate controller setting to obtain the desired system response while maintaining system stability. We also studied the Ziegler-Nicholas control setting as initial estimation of the control tuning. I highlighted this initial estimation means this only provide you the some initial guess. You can play around for around this data. Okay. Now the next is controller tuning. Controller tuning means to find out what is a controller tuning means once you know the parameters Means by up to this method, whatever we have discussed, we try to just find out some parameters, initial guess about the parameters. Once you know the initial guess about the parameters, means then we have to tune the parameter. What is the meaning of tuning? Tuning means it is just related with the optimization. Just like what variables we will, maybe we can get more than one solutions, but which one is the optimum solution? So optimum means this is a tuning. So here also we do this similar kind of analysis. We have a number of set of runs. So we have to choose from there which one is the optimum set, or you can say which one is the our tune parameter. The adjustment of the controller parameter to achieve satisfactory control is called tuning. The selection of the controller parameters is essentially an optimization problem in which the designer of the control system attempt to satisfy some criteria of optimality. The process of tuning can vary from trial and error, attempt to find suitable controller parameters for good control to elaborate optimization calculation. So it can start from trial and error method to find the suitable control parameter. That we can say we have the good control. In many applications, there is no model of the process, and the criteria for the good control is only vaguely defined. So method for determining the model of a process from experimental test will be described. So where there is no model, there no, you can say we cannot define the tuning parameter by any way, then we can do the experiments also. We can take a different run, different set, and we can check for the stability. And based on this, we can find out what is the good at which parameter which is the showing the good results. So that is known as, basically, when you try to find out the parameters with the help of experiments, this is known as the process identification. So we are getting the results by the experiments, that is known as process identification. A typical criteria for good control is that response of a system to a step change in a set point and load have a minimum overshoot and one quarterly decay ratio. These are very good points. These are basically typical criteria for good control. These are guidelines that responds to a system to a step change in a set point. Generally, we take this step change as a, you can say step change as a input parameter in a set point, or we also make this load as minimum load. We have load have a minimum overshoot. This also we take as a initial optimization of problem, and one quarter decay ratio. One quarter decay ratio means, you know, the decay ratio. Decay ratio is basically in the graph, you know, this is C by A, right? So C by A decay ratio means we take this C by A value is 1/4. One quarter means 1/4. So C by A value we just taken as 1/4. This is very important point, right? So these are the point for finding the optimum value. So first we take as an input set point, and we have the minimum overshoot and one quarter decay ratio. So these are few guidelines that will give you a optimum solution. Other criteria may include minimum rise time or minimum settling time. So all these can be also included as a to achieve the optimum parameter. Okay, so here you can see we have a diagram like this: proportional controller, that basically for the offset. We have the PD, we have the PI also, right? So we have PD, PI, right? So we have that kind of different type of graph. Now, looking all these graph picture, we can say a few things about the controllers. So about the different controllers, just like I just take first proportional controller. In a proportional controller, we can say that uh, proportional controller produce an overshoot followed by an oscillatory response, which level out a value that does not equal to the set point. So we have ultimately we can say we have the offset. Here we just want to introduce some controller and their behavior. Then we can talk about the optimum value. Proportional derivative controller, that response exhibit is smaller overshoot, a smaller period of oscillations compared to the proportional controllers. So smaller overshoot and a smaller period of oscillations. The offset that remain less than the proportional controller, we already know. So we are summarizing what the different controllers behave. Proportional integral controller response has about same overshoot as proportional controller. So P and Pi, but there is only change in the oscillations. But the period is larger. However, the response return to the set point, and so the offset value is 0. Most beneficial influence of the integral exponential controller is the eliminate offset. Now we have PID. Use of PID controller combines the beneficial features of PD and PI. So basically, we are taking the combined effect of PD and PI. And what is the beneficial features? It reduces the offset is 0, and we have the less oscillations also. The response has a lower overshoot and returns to the set point more quickly than the response for the other type of controllers. Integral action, which represent PI and PID, eliminates the offset. The important line, the addition of derivative action speed up the response by contributing to the controller output component of the signal that is proportional to the rate of change of the process variable. So it is just derivative action speed up the response. So it increase the oscillations, but it increase the response, but reduce the oscillations. Now you can see the application part. For simple low order, if you want low order process means we want a rough control, just like in your process. Here, low order, high order, it is defined in the terms of how much variations you want, right? Let's say your temperature is 50 degree, and if you are defining this is a low order process, this means the temperature can vary from 80 to 20 this way, or maybe plus minus 30 degree, maybe plus minus 10 degree, so maybe plus minus 2 degree. So it defines low order and high order. Low order means more variation. For simple low order process that can tolerate some offset, P and PD controller is satisfactory. For process that cannot tolerate offset or of low order, PI controller is required. So if the offset, we can tolerate the offset, we can go for P and PD for low order, right? Because the controller also have some cost. So P, PD, PI, they have the lower cost. So in lower order means only just rough experiment. So we do not put more money. So that's why P, PD, PI can be useful. For process that are high order means those with transportation lag of many first order lags in series. PID needed to prevent the large overshoot and long settling time. So we do not, for high order, we do not want more overshoot, more long settling time. So that's why PID can be used. There is probably little justification to select P and PD controller for the most process. The PI controller is often a choice because it eliminates the offset, but it requires only 2 parameters of adjustment. Tuning PID controller is more difficult because 3 parameters must be adjusted. The presence of derivative action can also be cause the controller output to be very jittery if there is some noise in the signal. So there is zigzag kind of motion. So it is very difficult. In case of PID, it is very difficult to control if there is any noise also. Noise means there is no proper signal. So we have the some criteria for the good control, means how we take a good how we select a good controller, you can say parameter. There is some criteria. So we now turn our attention to some of the criteria for good control that are used to judge whether a control system is well tuned. Okay, so what are these criteria? For example, a response that gives minimum overshoot, that we have already discussed. 1/4 decay ratio is often considered as satisfactory response, right? That will give you good control. In many cases, tuning is done by trial and error until such response is obtained. So we will take a different parameter and we'll see it will showing the minimum overshoot, it is showing the 1/4 decay ratio, that is okay. This is okay. So we do the trial error and we try to find out these parameters in this condition. To compare the different response that use different set of controllers parameter criteria that reduce the entire response to a single number, or we define this as a figure of merit is desirable. It means if we, what is a single number or a figure of merit is basically if we get some number, okay, the controller should show just like a step input. If this is basically the total value correspond to 1, so the number should reach to 1. So means we are talking about the plus minus with respect to particular number. So that number is known as the figure of merit. To compare, I'm just reading once again, to compare different response that use different set of controller parameter, the criteria that reduce the entire process to a single number, means the combined effect will just train to a single number, that is known as the figure of merit. If this is we know that what is the figure of merit, we will try to keep the entire process into that range. The figure of merit provides a means of keeping score for the different control parameter, as well as we see that low score generally wins. So we will see the other parameter effect, and we try to get to achieve a particular number, and generally if I put a number of a different variable, so on that basis we can say that generally if I add up all these things, we are giving some score. So it is not like that we are fixing some number. It is like that we are basically defining the overall response to a particular number. Okay, I will explain this a little bit more. You can see the control system designer should examine the nature of the response in conjunction with the requirement of the process to determine the best choice of setting. Okay, the scoring part I will discuss later. Just like, for example, one criteria that is often used to evaluate the response of the control system is the integral of the square of the error with respect to time. So that is one criteria. This is an integral of the square of the error, right? What it does, you can see, if I define the ISE as follows, this is 0 to infinity, integral of the square of the error, E is the error. So if I integrate this from 0 to infinity, it will give you some value, right? So that value is basically known as the figure of merit, right? Just like E is a usual error. Error is what? Set point minus controller variable. For a stable system which there is no offset. If there is a stable system means there is no offset. There is no offset means error at infinite will be 0, right? Error at 0 will be 0 and error at infinite will be also 0. So means this signal number as produce a signal number as a single number, that is known as the figure of merit. So means it is just giving you ISC value is just 0, and that is basically 0 is a single number, so that we can define as a figure of merit. The objective of designer is to obtain the minimum value of ISC by a proper choice of the control parameter. A response that has larger error and persists for long time will produce large ISC. Means if there is a larger error, then ISC will be even high. For the case of P and PD controller, where the offset occurs, the integral gives the why the equation does not converge. In this case, one can modify the integral and replace the error. So if there is a large error, so what we can do, we can define the error as RT minus CT. This is input, this is output, this is a set point, RT is a set point, and CT is basically the control variable. So RT we can say what is the set point? This is CT infinite minus CT C at T. Since C infinite and CT does not approach to 0, as T goes to infinite, this approach to 0, and the integral will converge and serve as a figure of merit. So at T change to infinite means C infinite minus C infinite, this approach to 0. And so we can say now the figure of merit, this is a single digit and its just value is 0. So this is the method how which we define some figure of merit, or we can say this is the method, this is the criteria that will give you the tuning of the parameter. You can say how the parameter will tune, that will give you this error should be minimum. We are defining all this basically error. So error should be minimum, ISC value should be minimum. So it means if this value is minimum, so means our parameters are okay. It also basically it all depend upon the types of error. If the error is a small period, right? If error persists for longer time, then we have other analysis, right? If error is large, then we have other analysis. So this way, depending upon the error, you can say a response has a larger error, then it persists for a longer time, will produce a large ISC value. So this method is useful when we have a small error, right? And if we have a larger error, then we go for the different method. If we have a error persisting for a longer time, we have different method to define the function. So ultimately, now I will describe this in next class, but in nutshell, we can conclude that our optimum value of the parameter is basically that will give you the minimum error, right? 1 point. Optimum value of the parameter is 1, that will give you the minimum error, first point. And this calculation, how we get the minimum value of error, that we can, it depend upon the type of error. If error is short, if error is persisting for a long time, if error value is very large, then we have to change our expression of analysis, way of analysis. So finally we will get, we can do at least calculations, and that will show you the minimum error. Okay, so I think I will continue from the next class. ठीक है, चलो ठीक है
सर लास्ट 2 क्लास
Okay,
की
sir.
वीडियो सर पोस्ट करती है।
अच्छा, ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक
सर
है,
वो ज्वाइन
ठीक है।